Can anyone hear me? I didn't know how to actually get this started. Okay. Okay, it looks like I'm live. If anyone can give me a thumbs up in relation to hearing what I'm saying, that would be so helpful. I am, okay. Can you can hear. I'm so sorry about this. This is the first time I've done this on my own. Can see you here. You can see me. Can you actually hear me? We can hear. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your help. Okay. I'm hoping this is going to be a good space for us. And I didn't actually expect that there would be more than even one person on, because it's so hard to get the time set for everyone that suits us all. So we'll keep changing it and try and facilitate everyone. Okay. If you have any questions that I can, yeah, he's in the background there. If you can see him, Remy, he's just having a quiet time. If you have any questions, I'll try and catch them on the screen. But I do have two questions from channel members, and I got to read through them for the starting session. I'm hoping it'll be more interactive as we get more people on and more questions coming up on the screen. So I'm going to start with the first comment and question that was sent in, and we'll see how we get on. At least you can chat to each other. And tomorrow I'm going to read that poem out that my son wrote about narcissism in society and what's going on in society at the moment. So I'll post that tomorrow in the channel member section. And I might release it to the main channel at a later date, but you guys are getting it first. So, okay, I see you're actually on. This comment was from a British woman. That's your name actually on the screen. So you were very complimentary about the channel. Thank you very much. And I'm going to read through the comment now. I want to ask a question, but the backstory is pretty long, and without it, it's hard to understand. Here's a snippet. My ex and I broke up in January after 4 years. I feel as though, although he shows the discard and showy traits of a narc, he may actually be avoidant and codependent. I know a lot of us will we seek other answers. They say in comments like that a lot of us just want to say, oh, we were with a narcissist and, make ourselves the okay one. But it's not like that. We don't actually want the person to be a narcissist, or at least I knew I didn't. And it was hard to actually accept. So maybe he is avoidant and codependent, but it doesn't sound so great as we go through the comments. So let's follow on. In the 5 years, he has done the cycle 4 times, including this time. He always tries to find another woman immediately, and last time started a relationship which only lasted about 6 weeks and came crawling back to me. Sometimes I know we want to know whether the person was a narcissist or not. Hi, Orana, I see you there. We want to know if the person was a narcissist or not because it gives us more clarity going forward in the healing process. And I know personally I wanted to know. But when all is said and done, we can't actually fully diagnose someone. We just have to go on the most information that we have and piece it together ourselves, because that person is just not going to go and get diagnosed, or very rarely would. So we have to give ourselves the closure and the answer. I just see a woman there saying, I'm a British woman. My name is Melanie. Hi, Melanie. You're very welcome. Okay, I'll continue with this question. We broke up this time because his ex-wife of 25 years drank herself to death in October, and there was a lot of family drama, with his spoiled adult daughters making threatening demands on us financially, with our housing space and long-term house buying plans, which we had agreed on between ourselves and had our house offer accepted, and also with his time. They wanted a lot of his time. Hi, Sue. He wanted to be a doormat, but I stood my ground, refusing to be a doormat next to him. He didn't like it because his daughters said if he didn't give them their way, they'd cut him off. And I finally told him that his daughters were spoiled brats, etc. Okay, so what I would say in a situation like this is this person has left you 4 times, and he's left you for various different women or different partners. So he's definitely not putting you first, no matter what he is, whether he's an avoidant, a codependent, or a narcissist. He's acting very narcissistically. And he's also not putting you first as his partner in relation to his family making demands on him. So it seems that he does what he wants all the time in any situation. He never puts anybody else first, not his daughters, not you, not any of the other partners he's been with. And that's highly narcissistic. So I don't know if that answers your question, but without knowing a lot of his other behaviors and whether he meets the criteria for the DSM-5, and if you want to look that up, the 9 criteria that a person displays, 5 of them, if they display 5 of them, they're generally in the realms of having narcissistic personality disorder. And again, we can't diagnose exactly. And even when they do go into therapy, it's hard sometimes for them to get a diagnosis immediately. So we have to do our best with what we have, with this knowledge that we have, to protect ourselves. So I hope that that is enough of an answer, but based on the information provided there, and as you say yourself, there's a hell of a lot more to the story. So that would be my answer to that. This person is not putting you first in any way, shape or form. And it would be up to you to make the decision to stop this cycle happening over and over again, where you just don't matter to this person, or that's the message that their actions are giving. They keep coming back and making arrangements with you, and then they keep leaving. So I hope that's an adequate answer. So I'm going to go into the next email that was sent, and this person doesn't want their ID broadcast, so that's perfectly fine. You know who you are. I'll just get that up now. And thanks very much for being here, by the way, guys, getting this started off. Okay. So you were here in the last live and you complimented us on it, which is great. It was definitely a big challenge, a big jump trying to get this underway, but I'm hoping it'll become like second nature so that, we can... I see you're meeting each other, so that's great. And especially starting off as a small group, because we can get to know each other and give each other a bit of support, as things go on in our lives over the weeks. So let's get into this email. I was wondering if you could talk about and explore the following topics, maybe in the same video under an activities of daily living heading or something, or inability or almost fear to shower, bathe, brush teeth, etc. during and after narc abuse. Inability to clean the house or yard. I told the ex that, like the previous partner, if he disrespects my home after I spent all day cleaning it, then I would stop cleaning. I stopped cleaning as he repeatedly did stuff to bring dirt back in my home. I'm still a long way away from bathing regularly, cleaning, etc., but I challenge myself every day. Thanks, Paula. Blessings from Canada. If you haven't been through this particular emotional and psychological and sometimes physical destruction with a narcissist, it's very, very hard to understand the amount of damage it does to your self-esteem, to your ability to think straight, to your ability to generate hope, optimism, or motivation. Motivation in particular is very low because your hormones are all out of balance. And it literally takes a recalibration of your brain and your physical health, and how your brain and your gut and your physical health all interact together. Also, what would have happened there was, and we often do this when we have had a few difficult relationships, and we come to a stage in life where we know what we don't want in a relationship. And we set off in this next relationship, and we want to be very candid with the person, that we're beginning to build a relationship with. We've reached a level of maturity where we feel we know ourselves well, and we would like to think that the other person are who they say they are and as they are presenting. But unfortunately, that's, narcissists wear a mask, and it takes a while to discover that they're a narcissist. So we often start off and say, please, I'm very open to this and I'm very open to that. There's just one thing or two things that I would ask you would be my particularly, my boundary, or something that really I cannot accept, or that is very difficult for me, that's very painful and hurtful. And this is it. Or these are the two things I'd ask you never to do. Now, that is like giving gold to a narcissist. It's like giving a whip or a stick for them to beat you with. Because they will hone in when you're in the devaluation phase, or when they want to trigger and annoy you. They'll hone in on those things, that precious information that you gave them, because they're literally emotionally the age of 4 or 5. So when they feel you're doing something against them, and again, it's that level of emotional immaturity, they'll want to beat back, like you've stolen their toy, so they're going to steal your toy. So they look for your favorite toy, which is essentially the information you gave them. Oh, please don't do that to me. This is the only thing I really would love you not to do. So the person who sent this email actually gave the narcissist, unwittingly, gave the narcissist the information on how to hurt them. What was their push point? So the narcissist, when they started to devalue you, started to bring dirt into your home. They were literally saying, I will disrespect you at the place that it really hurts the most, and I have no care for you whatsoever, and that you are worthless to me. So I can understand when we are looping, which we do in our recovery at different stages, that when you see the dirt in your house, or you need to be clean again, which is so important to you, you feel the narcissist, you're still fighting against the narcissist and everything the narcissist did to you in the relationship. So you're challenging yourself every day. And what I would say to you is, do what you can. Do what you can at a starting point. And even if you get a journal and give yourself a challenge like you would in school, and say, today I managed to do this, and celebrate it. If you managed to brush your teeth, celebrate it. And the next day, if you can add to that, celebrate it. And incrementally plan another challenge that's not just cleaning the house, but maybe that's buying some flowers for the house. Literally, you have the physical manifestation of what happened to you all around you and in the washing and caring of yourself and your body. So as soon as you're able to each day wash your body and feel good about yourself and feel that you're worth caring for, and that's why self-care is so important. If you incrementally do that, and then clean your house, decorate your house so that there is no hint of the narcissist. There's no memories of the narcissist in your house. Even, yeah, as I say, decorate, change it, move furniture around so that there is no memory that's going to trigger you and put you back in the place that they want to have you. They want you stuck in that place and not recovering so that they can possibly come back and hoover you. I'm hoping that the person isn't still in the home with the narcissist. I don't think so. If they are, certainly it'd be time to have an exit plan and go legal with this. Yeah, Orana, you have read Looping, page 166 in Weaponized Love. Thank you so much. You have been so helpful in getting the information out in the general comments as well. And that reminds me that I'm going to start narrating Weaponized Love I'll do it towards the end of the week for channel members, because I wanted to narrate the book myself, and it just went belly up. That's all I can say. And I've now got somebody who's really good at sound, etc., going to work with me in early June to get the book on Audible. So I see a woman says, I found writing a list of 5 small but important things to accomplish each day. If I ticked them off, I praise myself. Well, you have that is a tool for healing for sure. It's the incremental progress that we make. And I always found that every 3 months I would do a look back on how far I'd actually progressed, because sometimes you feel like you haven't made any progress. And when you have a look back at where you were, say 3 months ago, if you're lucky enough to be 3 months hence in the healing journey, do it weekly if necessary. I would say to you, it is amazing the progress we make that we don't realize we've made. And it is a very positive move to understand that we've moved away from the place that we were left in with the narcissist. So, Wendy, I baked for the first time the other day and it made me so happy. Hadn't baked in over a year. Oh my goodness, that is it. That's like when you laugh for the first time. You're coming back to claiming your own identity and what was really important to you. And they're big wins. They're huge wins. Absolutely not to be underestimated, because again, incrementally, you'll go out and do more and more and more, and you become more and more yourself. And then that's the time that it gets really good. When you're kind of back to a semblance of normality, you start to gain this inner strength that I don't think we have before going through such an experience with a narcissist. And it's at that stage that you're capable of finding great joy in life, great peace, and great motivation to actually achieve more in your life because you value it so much. Because after being in hell with a narcissist, the peace you get, even though it takes a while to move from there is no hope in life and there's no point in continuing, to a kind of a survival mode, and then a slightly hopeful mode, and then slightly back into your self mode. When you first hear the birds singing again, a woman, yeah. When you have the headspace to allow things like that in, to start to notice, to come out of the spell and the fog and the deep depression that you can get left in, and you start to notice those little things and they start to matter, they start to fill your head up, and the narcissistic crap starts to have less headspace for you. So there are so many ways and stages of healing, but I'll have to say what I found most effective, and I think I mentioned this last time, was dealing with those questions that came up for the narcissist. I'm just going to divert here. Sue says, Paula, can I ask, does the narcissist have the idea of discard you one day since the day he committed the relationship with you? The question is always in my mind. Do they always think that they were going to discard you even when they got into the relationship? Okay. My instinct is that they do. My instinct is that they do because they're the person that's central to their lives. So they also look at the world in a different way to the way a normal person looks at the world. And they look at the world from a narcissistic point of view, therefore they trust nobody else. Because they're not trustworthy, that's what they project onto the world. So while they get infatuated and fall in love with you for what you can give them and do for them, how you can improve their life, at the back of their mind, this is their gain. They found you. You're a prize that they can capture and take. But they know in the back of their mind subconsciously that you have a sell-by date. They know what they've done in the past with people. And they always put it down because of the lack of accountability. They put it down to other people not being good enough for them. They don't look at the fact that they've ruined relationships. It's always the other person's fault. So at the back of their mind, they're kind of going, I'll give this person a chance. But there's always a judgment there, in my opinion. And in my opinion, because the way as they go along, they set themselves up generally to be in a good position when the time comes, if it comes, for them to leave you. And I'll tell you that from my own experience. The narcissist tried a few times to get me to take out loans for him. And because I'd had a bad experience with somebody before, I was very careful about that. And I thought to myself, luckily, because I'd had the experience before of being ripped off by somebody else, I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Now, in a loving relationship, had I trusted instinctually the person, I would have said, of course, we'll do this together. But I think at the back of my mind, I felt, I don't trust you. So if I had gotten those 2 loans out, that person would have walked off and had their debts paid, and I would be still repaying the loan. So that's just a little example of the maneuvering and manipulation that went on or would go on in a relationship with the narcissist. And that to me indicates, because the person also left looking to, gain out of the property and gain out of the time that they were with me, that leaves me to believe that they're in it for what they can get, and that they do think the day will come when they will leave, and they're happy to leave you in the proverbial SHIT. So to answer your question, Sue, I believe subconsciously they're motivated to get from you what they can, and they will stay with you as long as they believe you're good to them, as long as they believe they're giving you a chance, basically, to be with them because they're brilliant, superior, omnipotent, and you're lucky to be with them. So they'll see how you pan out. And that's why I think they're not you're a gorgeous person, you're an amazing person, I'm so lucky to have you. And a normal person would never ask you to, say, pay their debts or to go. They just wouldn't do it. It's just not something you do, if you know what I mean. So red flags and alarm bells go off when somebody acts out of integrity. Different if you offered to do something and some of them manipulate you into, oh, I'm sorry, I can't afford this, and no, I'm in a terrible situation, and manipulate people into, helping them. but to actually ask you to do things that are their responsibility. A normal good woman or man wouldn't, in my opinion, do that. So that's going a little bit off the point, but it's trying to answer the question comprehensively. So yes, I do believe subconsciously they think that they're going to, at some stage, maybe have to discard you, and they want to set themselves up so they'll be in a good position if that day should come. But being a narcissist and having had relationships before, yeah, they set themselves up to be in a good position for when they'll believe in you. User 56GGHTF. I agree with Paula. I think they know. Okay. Yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense because they're so manipulative and they're so transactional is the word. So, you know, they're getting into a relationship with you. You have to be providing them with something. It is transactional. Sue says, it really makes sense, Paula. They judge how much I can provide and how long I can provide. Yeah. And when you start to, you know, put those boundaries in and you start to think, you know, you get to the stage where you say, I am exhausted. I have no time for myself. My finances are worse than they ever were. And there's two of us here, so they should be better. I've bad relationships with my family. I look crap and I feel my health is deteriorated. I've had some minor accidents and injuries that I'd never had before. That was when I started to kind of cop on and talk to a family member about the situation. And then, you know, bring in the boundaries. And once the boundaries were in, the narcissist was off like a shot. So that'll tell you, you know, enough, I suppose, that there's just no compromising. There's no sense of fairness in the relationship. Wendy says, my ex's mum died, so he inherited some money to pay off his debts. Then he discarded me after 14 years. That's, you know, disgusting. They don't like to share. But if they know you're getting an inheritance, they'll hang on for that. It's just, they're not, the energy around them is disgusting. They're not like real people. They're like this sucking energy, destructive energy that is a nothingness that you don't want to be part of because it stops you living your life. It stops you being any kind of a person of value or giving any value in the world. Sue said, mine has it in his mind to inherit from my family too, Wendy. You know, if you have a narcissist still in your life and you have an inheritance coming that might free you or might enable you to set up somewhere on your own for the future, why waste the years that you would have on this destructive person? I know sometimes people are married and they have children and it seems like very huge to leave a person, you know, later in life or whatever. But we only have one life and each day is precious. And particularly if you've had a sickness or you got a shock or, you know, you're rushed into hospital, you couldn't breathe or something like that that drives it home to you. Life is so short and you have the potential to do so much with your life. Narcissists are sent in to distract us, to take from us, to disable us, to make us feel that we're worthless. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because the experience with a narcissist caused me, it insulted me. It was despicable. I thought, how are these people walking God's earth? Or what kind of people are they, or are they people at all? Because humanity didn't seem to come into any aspect of the way they treated others. Okay, guys, I'm going to just let me read one or two more comments and then I'm going to close the session down for now. I'll do another session in 2 weeks' time. And if you have any suggestions about times that might be better, I was trying to facilitate some people in New Zealand as well. I might do it later on the Sunday in 2 weeks' time. So what's coming for you, and thank you again for the support. It means an awful lot. Is the book narration, is the early release of the poem, which I hope you enjoy. And in 2 weeks' time, we'll do another live because I think it's really important to get to know each other here. And if you guys want to continue on in the conversation, even in this small space, maybe the way I suggest with the buddy program that I used to do on the channel is if you set up a particular email that you just want to use to communicate with someone on the channel, so I know you're taking a chance because it's a stranger you might be reaching out to. But if you get on very well with anyone here, either chat in the comments going forward or leave an email address that you just use, to chat with channel members so that it's safe and secure. So, Paula, has it put you off relationships? No, it hasn't. Now, having said that, I haven't had a relationship, another romantic relationship, but I've never been happier and never felt this peaceful or, this inner peace. I think if I was to go into another romantic relationship, it'd probably happen organically, like by working with someone or meeting somebody in a capacity that it wasn't a dating setting. So I wouldn't be, put off that. And I wouldn't actually mind having a kind of a friendship style relationship and doing a bit of traveling together, someone that had similar interests. But I'm not going looking for it. Definitely not on dating sites. So it is difficult to build the trust back up again. But I think if you trust yourself instinctively, I think if you get too interested in someone too quickly, there's a high possibility that they might be a narcissist because they're very good at making you feel very good. And a normal man or woman doesn't go out of their way to really quickly, love bomb you and make you feel great about yourself, I don't think. And then slow actions, watch the actions, try not to listen to the words. If they make you feel uncomfortable or if they pull back suddenly with no explanation, I'd pull back as well. Because the instinct is to kind of chase after them and say, is everything okay? And that's what they want you to do in the kind of control check if they're a narcissist. So narcs are really good actors, I have no doubt. Yeah, that's what their main modus operandi is, to act and not be real. I will find love again one day, but for now, it's self-love. I'm really glad to hear that, Wendy. But, you often hear, and I will go now, but you often hear, or I remember hearing, you have to love yourself, in the healing process, and self-love is really important. And I remember saying, well, I do love myself. Like, what are they talking about? But yes, little man. Well, this is your first time to actually come up and say hello to everyone. Do you want to actually get in the camera? Do you want to get in the camera? Do you want to say hello? Oh, that's the first time he's actually done that. He must feel a little bit at home. There he is. Rem, you going to say hello? Oh, we'll go for a walk now in a minute. He's going to get his teddy now, getting all ready to go for a walk. What was I saying there? Self-love, yeah. Self-care is so important because the action of actually caring for your body and doing something for yourself and then making time for yourself tells your brain that you're worthwhile. And my God, is that important after being with a narcissist who's telling you that you're not worthwhile at all because they're trying to make themselves feel better about themselves. So, yeah, so Arani, you saw Remy there. He's wrapping us up. He is wrapping us up. He's saying, come on, wrap up now. You're right. Okay, my co-producer now has a teddy in his mouth. Oh, no, he's got a big bunny in his mouth. Let me see if you can see him. You see what He's got a big bunny in his mouth. When he thinks we're going for a walk or when it's a wrap, he sucks the teddy's nose like a comforter because he gets so excited. He wants walkies. Okay, okay. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful Easter Sunday. And I hope to see you like this again in 2 weeks. I really appreciate you showing up for this live. I really thought I might be talking to myself or one person at the most. So thanks, guys. I actually love you very much for doing this. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again soon. Now, I hope I can turn this off properly. So bye for now. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes.